Two of you sent me your real numbers this month, and both of you asked the same question: can I retire at 55? So one of you is sitting on an answer so good you're going to be mad you didn't act sooner. And the other one can unlock her retirement money years earlier than she thinks because of a rule most people have never heard of. I'm going to show you both my verdicts on my scoreboard, and stay to the end because I'll show you how to get your numbers on a Can I Retire video. Quick ground rules. This is educational and not financial advice. I give the verdict on the math and never the person. There are 3 stamps on my scoreboard: yes, yes if, and not yet, with the exact age that turns it into a yes. I never stamp a plain no because there's always a path. Okay, case number 1. Mike wrote, I want to retire at 55. I don't have any debt and I have $2.5 million in investments. Plus my wife has a $40,000 pension. I want to draw at 4.5%. Some say this is safe and some say it's dangerous. I never know what to believe. Okay, Mike, let's put you on the board. You've saved $2.5 million, your debt is 0, and your wife's pension is $40,000 a year for life. Your planned withdrawal rate is 4.5%. First of all, congratulations, you're ahead of most investors. So you built a really nice situation here with no debt, and I applaud you. Let's do the math. 4.5% of 2.5 million is $112,500 a year. Once we add in that pension, Mike and his wife have about $152,500 a year to live on for life, with 0 debt payments coming out of it. That's about $12,708 a month. And Mike, I know you don't spend that much. I'm guessing you probably spend half of that. And you don't have to spend that much, although you should take your wife on a really nice vacation to celebrate and practice spending a little more. You just need to withdraw the amount that you want monthly or annually and then let the rest continue to grow. So why is Mike asking for permission to retire? Because of that last line. Some say safe, some say dangerous. I never know what to believe. So let's settle that today. The 4% rule came from a researcher named Bill Bengen back in 1994. And I've used this rule forever for teaching finance. But recently there's been an update. In 2025, Bengen revised his own rule. He updated research that puts the safe withdrawal rate for a diversified portfolio at 4.7. Mike wants to draw 4.5, which is under the number which Bengen, the inventor of the rule, now calls safe, with a $40,000 pension on top and 0 debt. Now, I know what some of you are typing in the comments right now. Sure, Lisa, but what if he retires and the market crashes the very next month? That is a great question. Thank you for asking. Here's what almost nobody knows about this number. Bengen didn't build it on average market returns. He built it on the worst timing in American history. His rule had to work for the person who retired at the worst possible moment, straight into a brutal inflation and a market that went nowhere for a decade, and still never run out of money over a 30-year retirement. That's the test this number already passed. So a crash in year 1 is not going to ruin you. I retired at 45 and I make more now on my investments than I did when I was working full time. It's the exact storm this formula was built for. Mike doesn't need perfect timing, he just needs to know the math, and the math says yes, Mike, yes. And not just barely yes, yes with a lot of room to grow. Congratulations. Case number 2. Denise. And on paper, her question looks a little harder. Denise wrote, what about having $1.5 million at age 55? I turned 55 in October and I'm considering retirement. I also have $65,000 in an employer health account. So let's put this up on the board. She has saved $1.5 million, age 54, turning 55 in October, and also has $65,000 sitting in an HSA. So let's run the formula. We're going to take 1.5 million and multiply it by 4.7%. That is $70,500 a year. Then we divide by 12 and her money can pay her about $5,875 a month for life, adjusted for inflation every single year. So here comes her stamp. And actually, hold on, not yet, because there's 2 things buried in Denise's message that most people would scroll right past, and they do change Denise's options. Thing number 1. I turned 55 in October. Denise, you might not have to wait till your birthday. There's an IRS provision called the Rule of 55. If you leave your job in the calendar year you turn 55 or later, you can pull from that employer's 401k without the 10% early penalty. So it's a calendar year, it's not your birthday. And since you turn 55 in October, it means that this entire year counts. So the door that you think opens in October is already open. But before anybody watching this runs off and quits their job, the Rule of 55 has some fine print. And that fine print is where some people get hurt. It only works on the 401k at the employer you are leaving. If you roll that money into an IRA, the door slams shut until 59 and a half, and rolling into an IRA is exactly what most people will push you to do. So that's going to lock you out of your own money for years. There's also one more catch. Your plan has to allow partial withdrawals. Some plans only let you take the whole thing out at once, which would be a tax disaster, and some not at all. So Denise has a phone call to make before she writes any resignation letter. She has to call HR and ask 2 questions. Does my plan support the rule of 55, and can I take that withdrawal monthly? That's a 5-minute phone call to protect the next 5 years of her plan. Thing number 2, that $65,000 in her health account. The scariest part of retiring before 65 is paying for health coverage before Medicare kicks in. Denise is sitting on $65,000 of tax-free money that can pay her medical bills and COBRA premiums, and that is her bridge to Medicare. Nice work, Denise. So the stamp, Denise, yes, if your spending stays under $70,000 a year, and if your life runs on $5,800 a month, then you're there right now, this calendar year. If you need more like $8,000 a month, then it's a not yet, and you have 3 different levers. 1, you can work a little longer. 2, you could spend a little less. Or 3, you could go part-time instead of fully retiring to add some monthly income. But she asked, what about $1.5 million at 55? And the math says that's not a dream, that's a budget decision. Now, let me show you the mistake that both of these messages almost made, and half of you watching are making it right now. Mike had the money and didn't trust the math. Denise had a rule working in her favor and didn't know it existed. Different numbers, same mistake, but it's guessing, asking the internet, waiting for a birthday that doesn't even matter. So the most expensive thing in retirement planning is not the market crash, it's the years you keep working because nobody ever showed you your own number. And one more thing before the final board, because I don't want to hand you half a picture. Every number you saw today is before taxes. Mike's $112,500 and Denise's $70,500 are mostly coming out of pre-tax accounts, which means the IRS is going to take a slice on the way out. So depending on your state and your mix of accounts, plan on roughly 10 to 15% off the top and build your budget on what's left. But there's also some good news. Neither scoreboard counts a single dollar of Social Security, and the average Social Security monthly check is around $2,070. So 7 years into retirement, your monthly income could go up if you decide to take it at age 62. For both of these households, that's tens of thousands of dollars a year that shows up later, stacked on everything else we've just covered. So here's the final scoreboard. Mike is 55, has $2.5 million plus a pension. Yes, with room to spare. Denise, 54, $1.5 million in an HSA. Yes, if she keeps her spending under $70,000 a year. And she can start this calendar year. She doesn't have to wait till October. So do you want your numbers on this board? It takes 2 minutes to apply, and all I need is your first name and your numbers, and I can run your situation on video. Click on the link below, fill it out, and your verdict might be the next video. Follow for more Can I Retire videos.